How will you provide an open, transparent government responsible to the voters and the residents of Anmore? And what will you do to
Well, I think
provide
you
that?
had that question. Go ahead.
I think we have, I know we have, one of the most open type of council meetings anywhere else. The fact that people can come to a council meeting and talk on any item throughout the agenda, put up their hand, come to the podium and say that they have something they want to contribute to the discussion, doesn't happen anywhere else. Most of the council meetings, you wait till the end, there's a public question period, it's a very short period of time, you ask a question, you sit down, and you get the answer. We have discussions with people, we allow people to contribute to the discussion, to talk during the council meeting, if they have something they want to say, they want to contribute. And we also have a lot of committees, we have a huge number of committees that provide recommendations to council. I just want to clarify something, two things, the points that you made, was that the special council meeting you're referring to that happened at 9 o'clock in the morning in July, we knew we had to have another meeting in between our July meeting and our August meeting, because we only have one meeting a month. We asked everybody their schedule. I was suggesting we have one on August 8th. Councillor Sedgwick was not available on that. It would have been a 7 o'clock meeting. He had another commitment at that time. So we picked a date a week later and we said, can everybody do a 9 o'clock meeting? And everyone on council agreed to it and said, yeah, it's just the one item. We'll post it, we'll put it out. That was the only time we've ever done that, because it was a special meeting to get one piece of a bylaw that had to be done within a certain time frame. And it was posted properly, it was advertised, and it was the only time we've ever done that. And all of council agreed to that time.
Anybody else want to respond to that question? Open and transparent government?
Well, yeah, let's talk about that. They had until August 8th to pass the election bylaw. For some reason, they found it necessary to introduce it on July 12th, and to vote on it at this meeting at 9:30 a.m. in the morning on July 20th. Still leaving, I think, 17 days before August 8th. And they were in such a hurry to do this that they ended up screwing up the sign portion of the bylaw, and that's why I was able to post mine early, because they accidentally changed the language in there from November 1st to the first day of the month in 2011. They were in such a hurry to pass this bylaw, and I still haven't figured why when they still had 17 days. But because Councillor Sedgwick versus Councillor Piamonte chose to oppose that, he got censured.
See, we're going to have some problems. I actually just wanted to answer Mr. Schofield's question directly. I think that transparency on government is just established through open communication and a back and forth between residents. And I hope that all of council, our newly elected council, will engage residents, continue to have these type of forums, and just keep talking and answering questions and asking questions of residents as well.
I'm sorry, but as a police officer, I can't let half-truths go by. And that was just a half-truth we heard there. I was at the council meeting when it was made quite clear when the signs were supposed to go up for the election. And Councillor Sedgwick was there, and he actually clarified the point. And when Mr. Barron put his signs up, he was assisted by Councillor Sedgwick. I actually saw it. So this is absolutely, I guess, more horse feathers. I'm sorry.
Basically knew the law, and that's
I'll just respond briefly. I haven't been on council, so all I can do is give you my view on transparency. I think it's important for us to encourage the voters and the residents to get involved at the council meetings, to let us know what you think about different issues and different items that are going on in the village. It sounds like, in what I've seen in the past, there's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes that I think we need to avoid going forward. And I think if you have a cohesive group around the council table that are working together, that are honest and discuss the issue, I think the transparency will result in those open and frank discussions around the table.
communication and open and transparent government go together. If people will be participating in all communications and all communications are going every way, then people are going to be more satisfied. It's really incumbent upon everyone to not guess what other people are thinking, and I think some of that goes on. You know, if we guess what the other person might be thinking or doing rather than asking and communicating about it, that's where some of the negativity comes from. And I think sometimes when people are cheering and clapping out there, you're actually contributing to the problem. And I would hope that the cohesiveness might even start here tonight. People are offering their services. This is a volunteer group. The remuneration for this position is almost nothing, both for mayor and for council. So all the people up here are really just volunteering their time. And what we need is for everybody to recognize that everybody that's sitting here is really just volunteering to help you to run this village. And the openness isn't just, and the transparency isn't just for the council members, but it's for the people that are out there.
Thank you.
Hi there, Dave Farley. I live at the bottom of Pinnacle on East Road. I was the guy who was affected by the floods on Pinnacle Ridge. And just a quick one, if it wasn't for village staff, Tim and his staff, my damage in my house would have been considerably more than it was. So when we talk about changing on staff, I'm quite happy with the way they responded to me and the way they responded to the area in particular. My question is similar to that. It's in regards, and it's for Heather. There's been a lot of talk, innuendo, rumor about where the funds are right now in terms of the village and where we're sitting in our funding areas. Are we good, or are we sitting on things?
As a small municipality, our budgets are tight, and we spend months going over the budget and making sure that the money is going in the right places. This council in the last 3 years, what they've done that I think is great. We finally got to the point where we finished the water line, which was a major project for the village. It took us about 15 years. That was one place. The reconstruction of East Road was our other major infrastructure project. And so we got to the point where we finally got caught up, and we're at a place where we could look to the future, knowing that the infrastructure would need to be replaced in years to come. So this council established a capital asset levy that has put money aside every year. I think Councilor McEwen mentioned this earlier. And we're putting money aside every year in order to build our funds and resources. So when we apply for infrastructure grants, we have the matching funds together, because that's how we get the work done, is through grants. If we can pay 30 cents on the dollar, and we can get so much more work done in the village. So we've had to have some tax increases over the last few years, and although they seem high, like they're between the 7 and 9% range, what that actually means, every percent of tax, every percent increase that we have gives us an additional $8,800. So the tax increase this year that we have is about 7%. The majority of that was because garbage fees went up a lot. That was 4% went to garbage. That only got us an extra $68,000, I believe it was, in the end. So we're very careful with the tax increases. Oh, plus your tax is what you paid. 22% of that goes to the village. The other goes to school board and regional districts and other things. So, we've paid as we've gone. We've been frugal with our money and prudent, and we've prioritized things and put things off if they weren't absolutely necessary, and done the things that were necessary first. So I feel comfortable with the way we're going, and I think that we can continue in the future and know that the approach that we've had in the past has served us well for the last 25 years.
I think that we have done an excellent job in the last 3 years in our financial committee deliberations, and I think a lot of the credit actually has to go to two of the non-council members, Mark Roberts and Glenn Coots. They gave us a lot of experience and background, and we got over the hump, especially when four of us were brand new on the council. We are looking at ways to try to get the money, as Heather mentioned, to have the infrastructure, the money available for infrastructure repair and maintenance in the future. We still feel that with some of our projections, and unless we do get money from either the province or the feds in the way of grants, matching grants, and that's drying up a little bit right now, but in the future, hopefully it's not as bad, we still will be short. So we're looking at it right now. We've increased our original extra amount that's increased, the incremental amount for each year for that asset tax levy went from 25,000 incremental to 50,000 now. We may have to go more. We may also have to look at finding other sources of revenue. So it's going to be tight. We don't have control over water. We don't have control over TransLink. We don't have control over the school taxes. We have a very small area that we actually can control. And that's, if you look at the 1% increase being $8,000, it just gives you an order of magnitude. Thank you.
Anybody else want to respond to the question of fiscal responsibility, or should we move on? Okay. Your name and your question is who's directed to.
Mark Obadinsky, 1010 Schumann Way. Mr. Barron, you have threatened legal action over funding to the Anmore Times. You have tried to bring forth liability towards the village over the Anmore Renewable Energy Foundation. You're in the process of litigation to the village over access to confidential village documents, which I believe, I'm not confident, but Councillor Piamonte signed an affidavit in that litigation. You defied the village election sign policy by erecting your signs early through a legal technicality. Well, sir, why would I vote for you, sir?
Well, first of all, you're dead wrong about the legal technicality. If you ask the election officer, well, I asked whether I could post.
Everybody else went on the same day. Why was there a special day for you?
Because they changed the law. They didn't know it, but they accidentally changed the law.
So who was right, them or you?
Please, let him
Well, the law is right. You have to go with the law, and that's what they did. They were trying to rush it through and censure them. What they did is 4 inches above Heather's signature is the clause that has it with the sign bylaw. And the old one used to be the first day of November in the year of the election. They weren't even reading it. And they changed it accidentally to the first day of the month in the year of the election, which is basically January 1st. I didn't change it, they did, Mr. Obazinski.
So
I just went with it.
legally correct, socially wrong.
Well, and you even read the law. Isn't that the bigger issue? Or are you just out to make another point?
Okay,
Now,
that's
let's
your
go back. Well, we have to and now that was about basically the one to do with why we sued the village on behalf of my wife with regard to this secrecy bylaw. And what it is don't you people realize that basically what they have done is said that our councillors can't take anything away from a closed council meeting, so they can't do any homework. They pick up a legal document. They've got to read it at that meeting, and they're not allowed to take it home to study. Even I can't do that. Even I have to look at a document and study it and, something to make something out of it. And that is the law that they've passed here. And that's what amazes me, is that these people make it a laughing stock. You're going to have to live with this if it continues.
I'd just like to point out there's two things to look at. One is called the law, and the other one's called common sense. And I think the voters of Anmore have got common sense. And I think when we listen to some of these things that are being said, we need to follow common sense. Thank you.
Now 1120 Thompson Road. There is some discussion in the village about using a voting machine on the 19th. We would like to know from the councillors that voted for the machine to give us the reasons why they did.
Who would like to take that?
Voted for it or against it?
For the machine.
I was the one that voted for it. We, during the budget process, had allocated a line amount for dollar figure to allocate in the budget. This fell within it. Staff had made the recommendation that it was a more efficient means. Other municipalities were following it, so I voted in favor of it. We, there was some deadlines because you have to have two machines. You have to have a backup machine as well as the original machine. So the deadline, I believe, was the beginning of, that's why we had to have a special meeting at the end of July, but there were certain requirements, and we wanted to make sure all of council was there to make the official vote on it. So.
I'm sorry, I'm going to repeat almost exactly what Councilor McEwen had to say. I have 3 points on that. It was in our budget. That budget was passed unanimously by all of council. So in theory, we all voted for it. And it was recommended by staff. Plus, it was recommended by Sarah Morgan, who was the elections officer that did our by-election when Mayor Anderson was elected. As a way of increasing our efficiency. So thank you. It's all that's said.